Hello and welcome to this video, which we're going to take a look at proportional relationships. Proportional relationships occur when I'm given a graph or a chart where I can say that the y value over the x value will be the same when I set up this fraction. Okay. The only other exception is that it must go through the point 0, 0. So it must go through the origin on the graph in order to be proportional. So if, for example, I'm given a chart where I might have the hours, which is my time, to my distance, which might be given in miles. This is 0, 0. I might say that this was going to be 2, 4, 6, for example. This might be 5, 10, 15. What I can say is that it goes through 0, 0, so it checks. And then I check any other each of the other points. This would be 5 over 2. Okay, this is my y value, this is my x value. Time is always the independent variable. Miles or distance is usually going to be the y value, the dependent variable. I would set this up as 10 over 4, which reduces down to 5 halves. So this checks. And then the very last sort of value I would set up as 15 over 6, which would also reduce down to 5 halves. So this checks. So I would say that this is a proportional relationship. If I were to graph this on a chart of values, okay, where I have 0, 2, 4, 6, I might have 0 here, and I have 5, 10, 15 just for ease. If I were to graph this, this would be 0, 0, over 2 up 5, over 4 up 10, over 6 up 15. My graph would look like a straight line. So it must be what's called a linear function, a straight line. Okay, and it must go through 0, 0. So this is proportional. In looking at these values, I can take this value of 5 halves. This is what's called my unit rate. It's also what's called the constant of proportionality. So no matter if once I figure out that this graph does, or this chart does have a proportional relationship, this y over x value becomes my unit rate. It also becomes known as my constant of proportionality. It's the value of that ratio of that y value is to x value. Okay, it's known as that constant of proportionality. It also will, as we'll learn eventually towards the end of this year, next year, also controls how steep that line is as well. Okay. I can also use this equation, or this constant of proportionality, to write an equation. If there is a proportional relationship, it is generally given by y equals k times x. So in other words, I could say my equation would be y is equal to 5 halves times x. Or in terms of hours and miles, my distance, my y value in miles, is equal to 5 halves the amount of the time, the amount of hours. And that's pretty much proportional relationships. And we'll do a little bit more practice with this kind of over the next few days. The key part for you guys to take away today is probably that you're going to put the y over the x, and it must go through 0, 0, and that this would give me my unit rate. It would also give me sort of this equation down here for the line. Okay.